What is up, everyone? On this mileage unknown, I showed up to Trav's house to him laying under the thing and swearing at the heavens. So we're actually doing probably our least favorite thing to do, brakes. So far Trav has done the brakes on this side. He's working on the other side right now, or the rear brakes on this side. A full rebuild with new shoes, springs, new wheel cylinders, except for Trav decided to take it a step further and replace the e-brake cables because the OG ones had stretched so bad. And that's what's been giving him the biggest issues on the car so far. He is on the other side trying to cut and pry and bend brackets to get that cable out. If you guys remember, we had kind of bled the brakes and adjusted them a little bit on this one when we did the front brakes, but the brakes are still less than ideal. So you got all new rear brakes, new e-brake cable. We put a new master cylinder in, but we actually need to drop the reservoir down and replace the lines on the reservoir. And right now, like I said, Trav's over on the driver's side here swearing at the car a little bit because can't get that other e-brake cable out. Other than that, what else are we doing to this? He put a new carb on, so we might need to do a little bit of a tune and adjust on it.
So that's going to be a problem. The other one I could totally get cable.
So on this cable, you ended up pulling it through back out this way and cutting because it was
the end off because it was getting stuck coming out of the tunnel back there, which I guess is a pretty common problem from what everybody on Samba says. It's not that's how I found it.
Yeah.
So you have to rebend where the cable comes out. I found it easier to just get the old cable out, and then in trying to put the new one in, I could bend and figure out where that little tab needs to be bent so this piece
can make it through,
because that obviously doesn't bend.
But this one came, you were able to pull it farther this way, so I'm wondering if we just need to grab some vice grips and try and yank on it to be able to cut the cable. And now the next issue is trying to get the cable out. The bracket Trav was having to bend, which I don't know if I can see it from here. I see it, but up in the frame rail right there, trying to get that out, ended up having to elongate the hole a little bit, so now the sleeve's not going to go back in, so we've got to massage that hole a little bit, get the sleeve back in, and then run the new cable. So with some gentle persuasion, Trev was actually able to get the cable to go through. Now the trick is to get it pulled up. It looks like, go back a little bit, a little more. Ooh, hold on, shoot. Trying to hold the camera and do this at the same time, not easy. All right, can you push it? There we go. All right, so yep, got it out. Having nice little hooks and picks and things of that nature to fish cables out make all the difference in the world. We ran into the issue where one of the brake spring adjusters on this one is broken off, and of course everyone is closed today, so we can't get one. We have a brake setup off of 64 that was brand new that ended up coming off and get converted to something else, disc brakes, or went a different route. So we're gonna see if we can't get the adjuster spring clip out of these, but honestly neither of us are sure how to get that out and if it's gonna work once we do. But we'll give it a shot here. This might be a lost cause, but I mean that piece right there essentially holds the adjuster wheels. So once you've got the brakes adjusted, it holds those wheels in place. Without that, going down the road, you could vibrate the adjuster screws or the adjuster wheels and lose the adjustment on your brakes. So the other side was good. This side, you know, it's one of those things you don't know until you get everything pulled apart. And
never figured you'd have to order that piece,
right? I mean, I've never replaced one of those. I wonder how many of you guys out there have had to replace that one.
That made me think that it came out.
Oh, did it come out? All right, well, we got it out. We might be able to flatten it out a little bit. Now we've got to try and hammer out the other one and see if we can make this work.
We're gonna either go from 1 that works to 0 that works.
Yeah, we're going from 1 or none. Hero to 0. Hopefully it's the other way around, 0 to hero.
So you wouldn't think it would be all that bad to get out, which it's not because the other half is broken.
Did the full piece come out?
Yeah.
Or did you just break off the end?
Yeah.
Oh, so full piece came out. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't know if this one's any different than when we would buy new, so there's definitely a way to do it. We may have to go to YouTube, see if somebody else has done this.
Us watch other videos on YouTube? I definitely follow a bunch of other VW channels. Who knows, maybe one of you guys have ran into this yourselves. I'm probably going to shut the camera off for now because I think you've seen us mess with this thing enough for the past, I don't know, 5 or so minutes, but we'll see what happens. And here we are probably 20 minutes later, still dicking with that adjuster spring. It's almost like the block that it sits in is distorted because there's a little lip that the spring catches on this side, but we can't get the spring to sit flat on the other side. If there was a lip there, it's been demolished a long time ago, and when we try and put the clip in, it just bends it and distorts it and never sits flat. So it's almost like we got to rework the block or the clip to where it sits flat, and then almost like you need to hammer material off of the block onto the clip so it stays up. Now, that might not be how it's supposed to be done, but as of right now, we can't get the clip to stay up in there. It'll, you know, it bends, distorts, you put the adjusters on, and you think you have it, and then the clip falls out, which is something we don't want. So we've got a little bit more playing around to do with this. Well, we semi-sorta decided to kind of give up on the brakes for a moment. We're actually going to pull the gas tank out. We need to fix the little drain on the tank. Started leaking on this one, which we replaced not that long ago. So I'm guessing maybe we crushed one of the gaskets. The other thing is, it's going to make it easier for us to get to the lines. This is the cap for the reservoir for the brakes. The reservoir on the thing actually sits under the dash here. We're replacing those lines that go from that reservoir down to the master because we had replaced the master, wanted to replace all those lines, and it's going to be easier to just pull the tank out so we can fix the oil leak and get to everything else. So that's what we're working on right now. So the tank came out nice and easy, super simple. You can see the 2 brake reservoir lines coming through the firewall there, and then those are going down into the master right there. Volkswagen things, or some of the old Volkswagens with these gas powered heaters, I always thought was super crazy. This one actually I think would work, but some of the lines are clogged up and need to be replaced. And it may even be the fuel pump. You can actually hear this thing start to kick on and try and work. This heater is run off of fuel from the fuel tank. Seems a little sketchy if you ask me. But here's the tank. See the fitting here. See, we've got some wet fuel dripping down. So that is where, like I said, we had replaced all this. That's where we're leaking from right now. While we got the tank out, we're gonna go ahead and replace the steering damper because it's super easy to get to right now. And it just makes sense. I'm sure some of the other steering components are gonna need some replacing at some point, but you know, that one's easy to get to while the tank's out, so we might as well do it.
Without pushing it back in the tank.
All right, so this is super sketchy. We pulled the filter out and look at all the gunk. The reason why I'd say it's super sketchy, this was a brand new fuel tank. The old fuel tank was so bad, we ended up not being able to save it. This was a brand new tank. Now, I guess brand new could be, the term could be relative. Maybe it was a new old stock that sat for a long time, but that was a ton of gunk. And you can still see, look at, you can see some on the edge right there. Sorry, the GoPro doesn't get like super close up, but wow. And you said the tank came from Wolfsburg West?
Well, it came from the Thing Shop, but they get theirs from Wolfsburg, yeah.
So Thing Shop via Wolfsburg West. And the crazy part is, I mean, shoot, what's it been in there? 7 months, 8 months now, 9 months? Mm-hmm. Now, the car does sit a lot, so I'm not saying we couldn't be getting some moisture in it from sitting.
But that was
because that was over the winter that the car's been here. But I mean, it's so freaking hot in Arizona, and there really isn't that much moisture in the air, so it's kind of crazy to have that. And then it looks like the gasket pushed through or something pushed through. So that was kind of our issue with it leaking. So we're fixing that right now. But with some not so gentle persuasion, we finally got the old adjuster spring clip in place. And yeah, it took a lot. There's a little bit of a lip on the one side, and we were hammering the other side in, and more or less we kind of had to hammer part of the block over it to hold it up because it just kept popping out. So now we're in cleanup and assembly mode on this one, and hopefully it goes smooth. So we got the brakes all in, e-brake hooked up. We're gonna have to adjust that in a little bit here. We do have brand new drums for this one. You're gonna wanna make sure you spray the drums off really well with brake clean. The drums, the pads, everything you might have touched. The drums especially, because they generally have a coating of like Cosmoline or something on them. to keep them from rusting while they sit on the shelf. So make sure you clean them off really well before you just slap them on, because you don't want to ruin your new shoes. What is up, everyone? So we had to stop where we were at on the thing yesterday. I came back over this morning. Trav's got it up on stands all the way around, and we need to bleed and adjust the brakes. Now, we've showed you bleeding and adjusting brakes about 1,000,000 times between all the Volkswagens. The only reason why I'm going to show you a little bit of bleeding on the thing is this one actually has quick bleeders on it. But other than that, we're going to get to work on this, see if we can get the brakes bled, adjusted, and maybe we'll go for a ride here in a little bit. I'm under the thing, everything's set up. This, like I said, this car has quick bleeders on it, which by some witchcraft, witchcraft and magic, pretty much all you have to do is crack the bleeder open, and then Trav's going to start slowly pushing the brake up and down. We should start seeing some fluid move. It might take a second because the system was totally empty, but we'll see here. Starting to just barely see some fluid move now, and it is nasty looking. So this quick bleeder has a check valve in it that just opens and closes and makes it so essentially you could bleed the brakes yourself pretty easy, honestly. So that's the fluid that came out of this side, looking pretty nasty. Trav's throwing the wheels back on right now. We're gonna get ready to go for a ride. Only other thing we did was adjust these emergency brake cables. You pretty much, you know, it's crazy. We would adjust, kind of adjusted them both down, and got kind of in the area where the handle felt like it had about the right amount of clicks with about the right amount of force needed to do it. And then we just kind of dialed it in by size, whether, you know, we're spinning the back tire, seeing if it needs to be tighter, and then moved on to the other side. You know, if you notice, they're different lengths of adjustment, so clearly you can't just adjust them the same and think it's going to react the same side to side. So make sure when you're adjusting the emergency brake cables, that's what you're doing. You're making sure that it's actually gripping the wheel in the back, and it's not at a point where you can over pull it and have the knob shoot out and all that shenanigans. I'm sure pretty much everyone that has had a Volkswagen has had the e-brake handle come apart on them. Are you excited the thing might actually have brakes?
I am.
Feels better than it did?
Feels way better than it did.
Nice. Whew. There is something about driving a thing around that's just fun. I mean, pretty much all Volkswagens are fun to cruise around, but this has a whole different personality to it for sure. Yeah, it's never stopped like that. It's never stopped that good. I think we could take decent length trips here in locally, as long as we take enough. Yeah, think about what we're doing, bring some extra parts, and make sure we stop here or there to let the cars relax for a minute. really what I want to do, and I want him to start doing too, is we want to get this one because it runs so perfect and is a great road car. I want to get the fastback running perfect. It's a great road car, and we want to do some good day trips in Arizona. There's a lot of places we should be exploring and cruising the cars to.
Yeah, fun to drive now. Now the decision is roll cage, bikini top. We'll put an actual top on it.
Yeah, what do you guys have out there in the Volkswagen world? Anyone watching this channel actually have a thing? Do you have a roll cage in your thing? Do you run a top? Right now, this one has the full mechanism for the top, but there's no top on it.
Whoa. Yeah, it has the mechanism, it needs a top.
Now, part of the reason why the roll cage might be questioned is my sister-in-law isn't super thrilled about driving in the thing.
My daughter, my 4-year-old.
Yeah, so
With no top, nothing to keep it from just rolling over on you.
yeah. So I could see putting a roll cage in. I mean, it's not anything that can't be undone. There's actually holes that look like this might have had something at some point anyway. So we're headed back to the house. I think that's gonna be it for this mileage unknown. Stay tuned. I think we're going to work on the fastback a little bit today.